Hey everyone, TricksterShadow here, and today looks like I get to do the YouTuber thing of I did not want to make this video, God, because today we're making a video partly in response to another video. It's not really about me, but it's about like a space that I occupy, VHS, Video Horror Society. Dowsy, which is another creator, specifically a creator in the asymmetrical space, very big DVD content creator, previously been a Fog Whisperer. He also played a lot of VHS itself, and he put hundreds of hours into it, and he made videos about it. He did a lot of streams of it, and so he's a pretty knowledgeable person on the space, not only in just Dead by Daylight and other asymmetricals, but also VHS itself. And he made a video talking about, look at this title, make me go away real quick, the rapid downfall of DVD's rival, Video Horror Society. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to go through this video and kind of like jump around it. I've already gone through, you can see all of my horrifying tabs at the top, where I've just stopped the video at various places, and we're just going to go from tab to tab. And the reason why I'm making this video, well, I actually, to be honest with you, I actually did have a plan to make a video talking about VHS. I'd even written out a script. I wrote out the entire thing, and I was starting to go through the process of what I call, I don't know if it's the proper term, but like blocking it out. And I was collecting footage that I was going to put in it, and I was just making the entire video. I already had the thumbnail done. One of my moderators made me a thumbnail for it, but I just think that this will be better probably, and I think I have to kind of respond to Dowsy's video. Again, not really because it's like an attack on me, but because I have to live stream on Twitch. Oh my gosh, shameless plug. In an hour and a half, and I know if I go live without putting some type of video out, then every 2 minutes I'm gonna have somebody come in and say, "Hey, have you watched Dowsy's video? What do you think of Dowsy's video? Oh, Dowsy's video talked about this. What do you think about that?" And I just would rather put out a video and give my thoughts, and I'm probably still gonna have to answer those questions. I'm probably still gonna have to watch through Dowsy's full video on my stream, which I'll probably be doing. If you're watching this video, I'll probably be doing that on my stream. If you manage to catch the front of my stream. But I just kind of want to try to limit the effect of it, because this kind of threw all of my stream plans out of whack for the day. I was planning on doing like an interaction based stream today where people can play different skills and interact with my game. But we're going to talk about VHS, and then I'm going to talk about how I interact with VHS at the end, and my plans for the future, and what we plan to do. So Dowsy made a video talking about VHS, its rapid downfall. He talked about like he gave like the background of VHS, like a special game. And again, I'm gonna be skipping around. He brought up these videos, and these videos are all VHS related videos. And he was trying to say like this is like the marketing value, like a marketer would pay for a video of this type, with the amount of views that it has. And I do have a bit of issue with this because I feel like this is very misleading, and it kind of hurts me a little bit. I kind of wish he would have like consulted me and like some of the other creators that were like mentioned in this. But maybe it's just like a uniquely me thing. It kind of hurts me because I get most of my revenue, most of my income off of live streaming. And live streaming is a very tip based platform, or tip based like activity and job. And so I depend on like the charity, really, and the generosity of people like giving me subs, doing direct tips, stuff like that, giving bits. And a lot of people, I got I got people telling me, "Wow, TricksterShadow, you made a lot of money off of VHS. You made $12,000 off of one video." And and Dowsy, I'm sure will say like, "Well, that's not how he's trying to represent it." In fact, I responded to one of my tweets. I tweeted about this, and he said that's not how he's trying to represent it. But it doesn't change the fact that that is how people are seeing it. And I did not make $12,000. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. I did not make $12,000 off this video. I I don't think I can say how much money I made exactly on that video. I don't think I can say how much money I've made overall on my videos. I've seen conflicting things where, like, according to Google's TOS, like you can't say how much you earned, you can't say your CPM. Like you can like estimate and like speculate and everything, but you can't like say exactly, and I've also seen conflicting things saying that like you can. But I'm gonna just play a bit safer and just not say exactly how much I've earned. But that number that you see in the top left on the top of my video, 11,800. I don't think I've earned that on YouTube in the past year. And again, I can't say how much money I've earned exactly. Uh, but that's just it's not a correct number for me. And I understand he's trying to like show the market value, but even then, I feel like it's a little bit misleading because like a company isn't going to pay me $12,000 for me reaching like 500,000 views when that isn't something that I normally reach. Typically, when companies like offer you like a rate for a video, they'll offer you the rate depending on your analytics from the past like few months. And my analytics for the past few months before this video, I would be lucky to be hitting like 500 viewers for a video. And so saying that like my video is valued around 12,000, I feel like is a tad bit misleading. It's not how I personally have seen how the market works. But again, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. And so he goes in, talks about the CPM, and that's how he got the numbers for all the video stuff. And then he talks about how the VHS community had lots of hype and also had a disenfranchised player base coming from Dead by Daylight. A lot of players were unhappy coming from DBD at that time. This was back in like the tail end of last year, tail end of 2021. You had a bunch of different controversies. You had RPD that came out in that summer. RPD had a lot of issues on consoles, especially. It was a very rocky launch. And then that transitioned into a lot of issues and also some issues with the event, if I remember correctly. And then that transitioned next controversy that I remember, and that being just a lot of controversy about the NFT thing. And I've talked about the NFT issue on my channel before. They released Pinhead, and then it turns out the people that they were working with to release Pinhead were releasing NFTs based off the model that Behavior had created. And it seemed like that is something that Behavior had agreed to, and there was a lot of controversy. Oh, is like Behavior, do they share any fault for the NFTs and like the climate change that NFTs kind of influence? A lot of controversy around that, and I'm not going to talk about that today, but I'm just kind of trying to pack it all into what's happened or what previously happened. And so the NFT stuff happened, and then you had and Pinhead also wasn't the most liked killer by a lot of people. And then you had the whole controversy with Boon Totems, with Michaela releasing, and people saying that Boon Totems were too strong, and really making the killer experience worse for a lot of people. And then you go into the DDoSing incidents to where streamers were getting DDoSed because of their connections in DBD, where they were playing DBD. There would be somebody that would be able to like see their connection while they're playing the game, and they would use that connection and like the IP to be able to DDoS streamers, take their streams offline, make it to where they are stop playing and they can't do their job essentially. And then you also had some things that allegedly connected to where like there's a possibility that streamers were also getting doxxed, which is like having their information revealed online, and possibly even being swatted because of DBD. I've never seen any hard proof of this, but that is a speculation because of the DDoSing thing and like the IP leaks. That is a speculation, like that is what was occurring because it was just a little bit too close in all of it happening. So that's what people thought was happening, and could be the case, could not be. I have no idea. And so all of this stuff was happening, and players were very just like beaten down. Creators were very beaten down. I was somebody that was really beaten down by all this and really disenfranchised with the game, getting really burnt out. I was unhappy with a lot of the decisions and how slow development was taking for DBD, how slow it was to like fix a lot of issues. And I even made a video back in January of this year after a lot of these problems that happened about how I was just kind of done playing DBD. I didn't want to play it. I was enjoying VHS quite a bit, and I outlined a lot of the reasons why I didn't like playing the game as much. And I went from there. And I started just streaming VHS full time. I started uploading a lot of videos of VHS, and that is the direction that I started taking my channel. And so I starts going in about how like Behavior was scared because VHS did like a surprise closed beta. And I believe this is the tail end of November, and Behavior suddenly announced that they had a Blood Hunt weekend right when VHS was releasing their beta. And I believe he's trying to make the connection that like behavior was afraid of this closed beta, and so that's why they did a double BP event so that people wouldn't play the closed beta. Which, I mean, like, there's the possibility of that. But in my opinion, realistically, that probably wasn't the case. Just, I don't think behavior. I think if anything, like behavior being scared of, they're not going to be scared of one game. They're going to be scared of the trend that more competition is coming. Because like more games like VHS, like Evil Dead, like Texas Chainsaw, like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, all these games that are coming out, asymmetrical games and horror adjacent or horror games that are coming out, do stand to take a little bit of market share away from DBD. And it's hard to release a game, and so one game coming out may not necessarily hurt DBD or make DBD very scared because one game isn't guaranteed to succeed. But if you keep on throwing things at the wall, if you keep on throwing games at player bases, eventually one of them may stick, and that's a little bit more scary of a prospect. And so I could see behavior being nervous about that, but them doing a blood hunt to try to get people to not play VHS, a little bit of a reach, in my opinion. And I'm sure, like, I even said, like, oh my God, they're doing that. They must be scared. I may have said the same thing, but looking back, I think it's kind of silly. So he goes through a bunch of mistakes that they made. Surprise closed beta. They came out of nowhere. They didn't really market it. And then he shows the Twitch viewer numbers. This with the viewer numbers, this is a bit disingenuous on the part of Dowsy, but it's disingenuous. But he makes up for it in the end by saying he was being disingenuous the entire time. I guess that's okay. But he's showing the Twitch viewer numbers for November of 2021, and he shows the 10,000, and this is peak viewers. So if you have like a bunch of big streamers all playing at the same time, viewers peaked out at one moment in that month, then that is what he's showing there. He's not showing the average viewers. He's not showing the unique viewers that went through. Because one thing that's different about YouTube to Twitch, and really any other live streaming platform, is that peak viewers don't really matter that much. What really matters is the CCV, the concurrent viewers, concurrent average viewers, and unique viewers as well, because that is more of a determining factor of like how much interest there is in a certain directory and a certain product, and that provides a little bit of consistency to like give ad rates, and also to like do sponsorships, stuff like that. And so that is what matters. Peak viewers does not matter. So I think he's just displaying the peak viewers as more of like a shock value thing, maybe, or because it makes the story easier to tell. But it is a bit disingenuous. But again, he says it's disingenuous at the end, or he says that like he's been displaying it wrong at the end. So again, December, they had a higher peak, and then goes into that with the release of their beta, they had beta problems. It doesn't really go into this that much. But there were problems, like with any beta. Like there were bugs and there were like things that needed to be changed. People were unsure of like the beta was even happening, like when is the beta, and people were wondering where their keys were. This was a huge thing. I had a bunch of commands on my stream, trying to like explain to people like how the key system was working, and people were upset that they didn't get a key, that they were waiting, that they really liked the idea of this game, they really wanted to play it, but they would see people playing it and they couldn't play for themselves, and that created a lot of resentment and a lot of bitterness. And by the time many people would get their keys, they'd be playing against people that have been playing already for hours, weeks, months, and it wouldn't be a fair experience for them because they would be just fresh out of the gate, not really know how to play the game, and they'd be going against people that are already like somewhat of veterans in the game. So that created a lot more resentment and bitterness. People were waiting for this email to receive their keys, and then Dowsy talks about how the viewer numbers started to go down. And again, this is peak viewer numbers, and this is honestly pretty expected. And I'm not even like trying to defend VHS, but like here I can show you. So if we pulled up, let me look right now. If you look up Solely Gnome DBD, Solely Gnome is a statistics website for Twitch primarily. And this is the DBD directory on Twitch. You can see, I don't know what this is looking at. Let's go past 30 days. Past 30 days. Oh my God, DBD's dying. But if we look at the Steam charts for DBD, DBD's not dying. If you look at the Steam charts, DBD's actually doing pretty well. They've had 900 player decrease, but that's kind of expected, especially during times like midterms. Typically this time of year, like you'll see a little bit of a decrease in players because people have midterms, they have college, they have school, and then it typically picks back up towards like December, January. It picks up a little bit. You see a little bit of decrease after that, and then it picks up again in summer, and that's just the normal like ebbs and flows. So DBD is still doing really well. Like they had the period where they were losing a lot of players and they gained back a bunch. They lost a bunch and then now they gained back a bit. And it's kind of how games are. Really, the biggest concern when games are losing players, if they're losing players for about like more than 4 months, you're gonna have periods where like you lose players for like 2 or 3 months, but more than 4 months, that's kind of when you a bit of concern. But if we look at DBD in the past 30 days, oh my god, DBD is like all in the red. But like they're still doing well, and so statistics can be manipulated in any way to like paint things in like a little bit worse of light, depending on how you choose to look at them. But the reason why I want to bring this up is because we're looking at the peak viewers for VHS on Twitch, and if we were to go to 2016 is when DBD came out, and go into May. May had 108 average viewers because people were playing like the beta for DBD. I'm assuming they were just talking about DBD. Going to June. In June, it's a brand new game, 18,000 average viewers. You have a peak of 79,000 average viewer ratio, which is like the proportion, like how is like the viewers are being split up between all the streams, 164 channels. Really, all really good metrics. Now, if we go from June to July of 2016, it goes from 18,000 to 13,000. That's not good. That's a 26% decrease. Okay, well, maybe things picked up in August. That it goes to, oh my god, that's another 20% decrease. It goes down to 10,000. Okay, well, maybe things go up in September. September, everything is down, and it goes to 6,500. Okay, well, certainly, like in October, like things will be better, right? Oh, okay, max viewers goes up a little bit, but just barely. But the average viewers is still going down, and DBD is obviously alive and well. But like it dropped from 18,000 viewers on Twitch to only 5,000 average view, 5,600, and that's a pretty sharp decline. And this is when like DBD was really the only asymmetrical game out there. So of course, like it's gonna have more viewers, gonna have more interest because there's no other alternatives. People had previously played Evolve, but Evolve was a dead game, and if they want to play an asymmetrical game, DBD is the only thing. And also playing like horror tag, which is how people approached it at first, is kind of a compelling idea. But if we continue this trend and we go into October, if we go into November, you can see like the stats start to look better, and then we go into December, stats start to look even better, and it keeps on going up from there. And that's a big reason why that started to go up is because they started to release more content. They released the nurse, of course, I believe like September or like August of 2016. And then Michael Myers came out in October of 2016, and then Hag came out towards the end of that year. And so Michael Myers, I think, really helped out DBD, especially just because that brand recognition. But the reason why I'm showing this is just to show that it is normal for games to lose viewers when it's not the fresh new thing. So I do think, again, this is a bit disingenuous. You can make stats look however you want to fit your own narratives, but I just wanted to kind of explain it a bit more because this did kind of irk me a little bit. But still, this is actually like a pretty decent like retention rate for players or player interest in the game, because you have this like initial big jump up because people don't know what this game is, and then you have a decline in January. January is also when just viewer numbers are kind of lower a lot of the time. People are getting back to work. It's the new year. Ad rates are typically really low in January as well, which doesn't really matter as much for Twitch, I suppose. But the reason why ad rates are low is because people don't have as much money to spend, of course, because they spent the money on the holidays, and they're just not spending as much time on YouTube and Twitch and stuff like that. And so you start to see a pickup in February. It starts to go up a little bit more, and I believe he tries to say that the devs started to try to like focus more on like bringing people back. So they started like pushing like keys more and bringing interest, and that's the reason why the numbers started to go up. And that's definitely possible. More people getting keys makes them want to say like, oh, like how do I play this game? How do I play it better? Start watching more Twitch, start watching more YouTube videos, and you can see that they started to release more key waves and started to release them a lot closer together, and that was very good. And I think personally, if a lot of things didn't happen that ended up happening with VHS, then early access probably would have happened like a month or so after this fact, after February. In my opinion, that may not be true, but definitely it did seem like they were ramping up for early access. But early access did not happen. Instead, they went into maintenance mode because they started to get DDoSed, and then Dowsy goes into a VPN sponsorship. Okay. And they start going into like posts every week saying that like, oh, we're still down, we're going to be in lockdown phase, and they 3.5 months where the game is down and really not much is happening, which is a long time, especially when you factor in gamers' attention span, the internet's attention span. And then also there's the problem of them having to rebrand because they couldn't get the trademark for VHS as a video game all over the world. They could get it in certain places, but not all places, and they wanted it to be standard across the board. And so they rebranded to Video Horror Society, which is a bit confusing for people, but it is what it is, I suppose. Closed beta number 2, when they came back, they were sending out keys in waves, and so people that previously had keys weren't even going to be able to play right out of the gate. And I do believe this fostered a little bit of resentment because there were streamers that got keys. I was one of the streamers that got my keys right out of the gate because, again, like they didn't really pay for much marketing, and so like content creators were the marketing, and so like we're able to get our keys first so that we could show the game off to people and get like hype, like get people to talk about VHS again. Progress didn't carry over, and people could still apply for the beta on Steam and everything. But they had to apply not through like the normal beta application. I believe they had to apply through Steam. And then we look at again, this is peak viewer numbers, and so of course the peaks are going to be bad when nobody's playing. But you can see the peak started to come back up. And even like the peak for June, and like May pretty much like came back and was relatively close to how February was. Which, and then it even goes up a little bit more in June. And I think that is a testament to like the robustness of the VHS community and player interest. Like you can see this as like, ooh, that's really bad. That's really bad for growth. But being able to take a break that they did and there to still be like that much player interest in the game, I think really says a lot about the game. I think that testament to like how much fun people were having with the game and how much they enjoyed watching the game as well. But of course, stuff still kept on happening. Discord server got hacked. One of the devs got compromised. Server got taken over by people that were trying to like promote NFTs and also trying to like get people to download viruses. They eventually got control of the Discord, and they still have control of it to this day. And then after that happened, a couple weeks later, they announced that they're going to roll into early access and how that's going to go. At this time, when they were starting to roll into early access, this is right when DBD started to like really change. I think that ever since like around June of this year, DBD has really made a very noticeable shift in their mentality and their approach to not only their player base but also their design philosophy and how they want to manage their game. And like the big like starter was their anniversary live stream. And so at this point, there was also the Dredge, Dredge, and there's also the talk about Resident Evil coming out, and so there's a lot of interest, or a new Resident Evil chapter, a lot of interest in DBD again, especially with a lot of the changes that they were proposing and that were going to be coming out. And so DBD players were a lot more hopeful. I was a lot more hopeful. I went into the DBD dev broadcast kind of expecting the worst, and I came out and it actually seemed pretty decent. Like I was really surprised. I watched it on stream, and I expected to be like really cynical, and I probably was like cynical and bitter, just because of my experiences with DBD. But I came out on the other side, like that actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like there's actually some sensible things they talked about. It seems like they're going in a different direction, and so DBD players are a little bit more happy. In terms of VHS, though, VHS had some big creators that did play. We got Soda Pop and Lyric. We also had other big creators. I believe Enforcen played VHS for a bit. And he shows the like how much both of these creators played, 1 hour, 4 hours, and I think this is peak viewers, I would assume. I don't know if it's peak is average. I could play the video, but I don't know. I'll just assume this is peak. Or maybe it's average. I don't know. But regardless, yeah, you had some creators play it and they didn't play it for that long. But that isn't really that surprising. Big creators, especially big creators that are making a lot of money every year, that are getting tens of thousands of viewers, that can afford to go from game to game, because both these creators are variety casters, meaning that they just play whatever they want. Soda Poppin plays a little bit more of WoW nowadays. Lyric really is a variety caster. He just plays whatever. He plays anything. But Soda also plays a variety of games. And so, like, them hopping from game to game isn't really a testament of the games that they're playing. In fact, like, Lyric played VHS those 4 hours across 2 different days, and so he came back to the game to try it again, and which could be a testament to something. Yeah, they played it, and they get a little bit of eyes on it. It's just Soda Poppin playing the game, yada yada, and then he shows the peak viewers shut up, and of course the peak viewers shut up because big creators are playing it with early access out, and they're able to play it, and so yeah, of course the peak shot up. um, and then VHS, he said like another mistake is VHS is too hard for new players, which I agree. VHS is incredibly hard for new players. Monster is hard, and I feel like even more than Monster being hard, it's just unapproachable. VHS, I think, did very well with making a gameplay loop that you know if you're messing up, because if you mess up, you very quickly get shown that you messed up by dying and are going down, and you know in the future, like, okay, like, I shouldn't do that again. But the problem is that is not conducive for every type of personality. There are people that happen to them, and if it happens to them enough, they just won't want to play the game, and that's fair. But for me, like, I don't really mind it. I kind of like figuring out like where my flaws are and how to improve. That's how I've just approached all games. I'm not saying I'm like a better person. It's just how my personality is structured. But not everybody's personality is structured like that, and that is something that devs have to take into account. Monsters on Fun. This is something else that I don't entirely agree with. I think Monster is pretty fun. I think that the more apt way to talk about Monster, if we're keeping like Monster is not approachable, Monster is hard as like its one point, Monster's unfun. I think the more apt way to talk about it is that Monster is not as it's not as made for continuous play. And what I mean by that is people with DBD, for example. DBD, people with DBD will like, get off of work and they'll play 4 hours of DBD every single day after work. They'll play 4 hours of Survivor, 4 hours of Killer. And there's people that stream the game every day. They stream 8 hours of DBD, Killer, Survivor, whatever, both. And they do this every single day, every day out of the year. And that is just what they do. And even if they are frustrated with it, even if they're not liking the direction the game is going, they're still playing it because there's still part of them that actually really does enjoy it. And the game is still serviceable enough to where they can keep on playing for so many continuous hours. Because if people really hated it and really did not want to play the game, they just simply won it. It's just the reality of things. And then, yeah, new players struggle. There wasn't really any proper in-game tutorial, and this kind of goes into like Monster is hard because I feel like Monster is hard is just a little bit too simplistic. And of course, this is a PowerPoint, so of course it's going to be simplistic. But I even feel like it wasn't really explained that well in this video, because you would have gameplays of like my gameplays, or you'd have my live streams specifically to where I would do really well. I would play and I would have like maybe one loss in like a 6-hour VOD, and all the other games, like most of them would just be complete domination victories where people would maybe get one stigma, and even the ones that are more like contestable, like I had a lot of moments to where I played so well that I ended up winning, or even the matches that I lost, majority of the matches that I lost, like one or two more decisions in my favor, or that like I would have made better, it would have resulted in a win. And so saying Monster is hard, I feel like is a little bit too simplistic. It's more so that's not approachable, and because of the lack of proper in-game tutorials, the new player onboarding experience is just terrible. It just flat out, it's just terrible. If you're a new player coming into VHS, never watched anything on it, know nothing about it, haven't watched YouTube tutorials on the game, haven't watched creators play it on stream, you don't know what Flux is, you don't know what Aura is, you don't know how to level up, you don't know how these weapons interact with each other, you don't know how like you're supposed to like get away from certain weapons as monster. There's a lot of things that you just don't know, and even like the simplistic tutorial in the game doesn't really explain to you. And so it's hard for like player retention when players don't even know where they are making mistakes. And obviously they can learn, they can figure it out, they can watch YouTube videos, they can watch Twitch streams, they could even just kind of like go through it themselves and figure it out on the way. But again, they may not do that, and a big reason why they may not do that is because there is something that DBD didn't have in 2016, that is DBD as a competitor. Uh, and so every time that there's a roadblock for somebody playing VHS, it'll kind of hit their brain, and it may subconsciously or actively thinking, why would I play this over DBD? Like if I'm not having as like 100% good of an experience as I could be having, theoretically, is this worth spending my time rather than just playing DBD, a game that I've already invested a lot of time and money into? And so having the new player onboarding and new player experience be so bad really hurt player retention. And the turnover rate for new players coming into the game, especially new monster players, was really high. Talks about teen is really unfun, and that kind of goes into like people not queuing as monster because they just wanted to play teen. And mistake number 10, I believe this is the last mistake. I think we missed some mistakes. I don't know. I think they're baked into some of the other slides. But and I've tried to go back and look for them, but maybe I just didn't see them right. But mistake number 10, lack of marketing. Yeah, they didn't really do any traditional marketing. It was purely just like streamers and YouTubers that were doing all the marketing. And he shows the viewer numbers, and he's again showing the peaks. And this is actually a really decent like drop from peaks when you have like the initial release of a game and then you have the drop off, because this happens with really every game. Again, and this is again like why like I'm kind of like confused about like the way this is being displayed, because it doesn't make as much sense to me. Because if we look at, and this is going to be different because this is a line graph, but this is Overwatch 2. And Overwatch 2 recently came out, and you can see when it initially came out, it had a bunch of high peaks because a lot of big streamers were playing it, and then it just slowly started to go down. It looks like it had another high peak. Maybe they were doing like an event, or maybe there was a bunch of big streamers playing all together at the same time for some reason, and then it goes down again. Happens with every game, happens with every, not even just game, happens with everything. Where when the thing is shiny and new, everybody has their eyes on it, and then as the thing is no longer shiny and new, their interest kind of wanes, but you still will retain some of your core audience. So I think this is a pretty good carryover from the initial exposure from those big streamers. And then he finally reveals that he was bamboozling us the entire time, and that he was showing the peak viewers. Again, I'm assuming just because it was easier to tell a story. But again, this is actually really good for an indie developer game that had nobody publishing it. Because you got to remember, back in 2016 when DBD came out, DBD had a publisher, and a lot of people considered that not to be indie, because if you have a publisher publishing your game, a lot of people that they'll consider that as like that's not an independent game anymore because it's being published by a bigger studio or bigger company. And so having like 1,000 to like the higher hundreds in terms of average viewers is a pretty big deal, because that translates to hundreds of thousands of views a day. And people may not realize that, because if you have a stream where it has 500 people concurrently watching on average, that isn't going to be the same 500 people all day. You're going to have people constantly coming in and out. You're going to have people like hopping out, and then like a completely new person hops in. And so that 500 average viewers isn't just 500 views total. 500 hours average viewers could be like 20,000 people, depending on how long the stream was done for. That like unique accounts that came through. And so this is actually pretty good for a new game, because if again, like if we go to the Solinome website and we go back to 2016, go back to let's say August, had around 10,000 average. And then we can even go into like September and October where it went down to 5,600. And this is when it had no competition. It was DBD was the only asymmetrical game out. It was the only horror asymmetrical game out, and it had 5,600. It dropped a lot. It dropped from its 18,000, I believe it was when it first came out. And so for again, a game not having a publisher and not having really any marketing budget, because DBD did have a marketing budget when it came out. DBD paid tens of thousands of dollars, probably even closer to $100,000 if I had to guess, on just purely getting streamers to play their game by paying streamers to play their game. And VHS did not do that, as far as I know. But like their Shroud comes to mind as somebody that DBD paid to play their game when it came out to get more eyes on it. And VHS didn't have that, and without having that, they still hit like a peak of 1,400 average viewers on Twitch. And this isn't people playing; it's just average viewers. I think that's pretty good and pretty commendable. And then we get into this to where is there any chance of reviving it? Because VHS is a bit lower. It started to average at some points less than 100 players. You may have noticed that I haven't really been doing as much VHS content. You may notice that if you come to my stream, I'm not really playing VHS that much. And you may be wondering why that is. Especially when I have really received a lot of success by doing VHS things. And if I started to stream VHS again, and if I started uploading VHS videos in the frequency that I used to, I would get views on it. I just know that's money that I could make. That is views that I could garner. But I am not doing it, and I'm not doing it because I have no faith in the game, and I don't like. I'm not doing it because I hate the developers or anything. I really like the developers. I really like the game that they made. I have a lot of fun with it. Um, but I do suffer from the same burnout as everybody else, to where like the monster experience can be very grinding, and it's just something that I can't continuously do. There's also the factor that there's just intense negativity when I play VHS. Not even from the people necessarily that play it, although I do get negativity from people that play it, because like if somebody's angry at the game, they'll come into my chat and they'll be negative about it. But I'll get people coming in constantly and saying like, "Oh, this game is shit. It's not like DBD," and like I don't even know like who Megalo. What is this game? And, like it's dumb, but like when you get it like such a high frequency, it just like I'm just trying to enjoy my game. I'm just trying to play a video game. Like I don't care. Like I don't care what you're having to say. Like go say it somewhere else. But it gets very annoying. It's very grinding, and if I am having a bad day, and then we have, and normally I can deal with stuff like that. But if I'm having a bad day, then that type of stuff can become a little bit more annoying. And everybody can understand that. You can deal with the same BS in your life, but then when you're dealing with the same BS in your life, and then like you have a really bad day and the same BS happens, it's a little bit harder to deal with. And I've talked about in previous videos about how my life has been a little bit harder lately, and I haven't talked at super length on YouTube videos or even my live stream about everything that's going on in my life, or everything that has happened in my life in the past couple months. But I guess I'll dive into it a little bit. I've been very depressed, and I've said that before, and my depression has really hurt my content creation in terms of uploading videos and like doing what I need to do in terms of streaming as well. And I honestly got to a point to where I going to kill myself. And I had made a plan, and I was going to go through with it. Not the case anymore. I'm feeling very good. I'm on antidepressants now. I'm feeling a lot better than I used to, but that really impacted my content creation, impacted the frequency of me uploading and me streaming as well. And because of me going through that and still going through that, because the ramifications of me going down that path, it's not just something you get over in a day. I'm still dealing with that. And I'm still dealing with trying to heal and process the things that I was going through. And even with me taking antidepressants, it's still a journey, and it's still something I have to try to get over. And so as a result, I just simply can't deal with a lot of the associated negativity like I used to be able to deal with VHS. I can't shoulder the responsibility of feeling like, oh, I'm like a pretty big creator in the space, and so I need to play it in order to keep the interest in the game. I can't do it mentally. I I just have to kind of distance myself from the game, and I have to distance myself from the community somewhat, even though I do like the community, just for the sake of my own mental health. And that is something that is really sad. That makes me upset because, again, I really do enjoy VHS. I want it to succeed, but it is just not the healthiest option for me moving forward. And I'm at the point in my life to where I need to choose the healthiest option for me because I haven't chosen the healthiest option for years. And I need to take the time to properly heal. In order to do that, I can't be a representative of VHS. And so that's why also with this video, I have sent a message to the devs, and I'm going to be stepping down from the Rewinder program. And I'm not stepping down because I think the game has no future. I'm stepping down because I just purely cannot handle it. I can't handle it, and I have things that I need to get through in my own life. I have my own personal struggles, my own mental struggles I have to get through, and I just don't think I can be a good representative of the game while I'm going through that. And so you may be asking, "You're not playing VHS, so what are you doing?" I know not all of you guys watch my stream. I've just been playing DBD, which I know is very funny because I made a video back in January about how much I hate DBD, all the things that I don't like about it. And I do think that video was partly made because of my intense burnout and my intense depression. Because I've noticed that DBD is quite a bit more tolerable when I'm taking these funny pills that make my brain a little bit happier. And so if you're ever feeling burnt out about DBD, just get medicated, I guess. Makes it a little bit better. But I am feeling better, and because I'm feeling better, and because DBD is going in a better direction, in my opinion, and they're making a lot of good changes. Not all of the changes they make are great, but I think they're making a lot of good changes. I am feeling a lot better about DBD, and so I am starting to play DBD again, and I want to start uploading DBD content to my YouTube. I know everybody may not be thrilled about that. I know some people may unsubscribe or very angry comments or just be generally upset. But sucks to suck, really. That's just the direction my channel is going to go, and that is what I have to do. So yeah, really nothing else that I want to talk about, which thankfully so, because if I had anything else I wanted to talk about, this video would reach an hour. And at this point, there is probably a collective of about 2 people watching this, and one of them is going to be myself watching back to see if there's any microphone issues, except that is also a lie because I am not going to watch this 42-minute video so far to see if there's microphone issues. I'm just going to upload it and pray that it's okay because I just need to get this off my chest. I need to stream because my stream is in like 40 minutes, and so I need to get this video out. Thank you guys for watching. Love to hear you guys' thoughts about VHS in the comments down below. I'll be live streaming pretty soon after this video comes out. So if you want to talk about VHS or talk about the future of my channel, about my content, love to have a conversation with you. Links should be in the description. Just twitch.tv/TricksterShadow. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, everyone. Have a good day.